Hi, I'm Lance Hendricks, and you're watching Bryan Lomax Movie Talk. Don't turn it off.
Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my latest Patron requested review. This one was requested by Joseph Lionelle. Thank you, Joseph, for requesting this. And the film is Sidney Lumet's Prince of the City. I hadn't even heard of this film, it must be said. This film's from 1981. I hadn't heard of it before. I'd heard of Sidney Lumet, obviously. He's made some pretty damn good films. His most notable one probably being 12 Angry Men. This is a guy who knows how to make hard-hitting dramas with a very political kind of edge to them. But yeah, never heard of this, and I'm shocked, quite frankly, because it's fantastic. If you like movies like Heat, cop dramas that are pretty sprawling, pretty epic, crossed with something a bit more political like 12 Angry Men or like a courtroom drama kind of thing, then yeah, this should be right up your street. It follows this narcotics agent played by Treat Williams, who becomes part of a special investigation team who are trying to root out dirty cops, basically, which kind of forces him into the position of ratting on his partners, his ex-partners. Now he goes into this thing under the conditions. He lays his conditions out, and the lawyers, the kind of attorneys that are dealing with him, agree to it, that he won't shop in his partners. He'll help them get everyone else, but he stays away from his partners. But as the film goes on and more people become embroiled in the investigation, it gets handed on to more departments, goes higher up, goes into the FBI. The moment it starts to build, this guy kind of gets caught between a rock and a very hard place, where actually he has to backtrack on what he said. There's a scene in the first act of the film that really sets this main character on his journey, and because he's an undercover narcotics agent, he deals with a lot of junkies. A lot of the tips he gets, a lot of the information he gets to work on cases comes from junkies, and he helps those junkies kind of get drugs, essentially, in order not to bribe them in any way, but because he genuinely feels sorry for them. But there's a moment, there's a scene where he realizes just how deep down in the mud, in the dirt, in the filth of life he has gotten to, how far he's fallen from the idealistic young cop that he started off at, way back when, long before this film kind of starts. When he first became a cop, he realizes how far down he's fallen, and that's what kind of spurs him on to do the right thing, really, to change his ways. This guy is a bit of a dirty cop. He has done things that, quite frankly, no cop should be doing, but ultimately, deep down, he's a good person, and he recognizes that he needs to atone for his sins. He wants redemption, and it is a redemption story. And I think the film shows us overall that redemption often actually comes at a price. It's not easy. It's often the hardest road to take. If you want redemption, if you want forgiveness of your sins, you're going to have to do things that actually are going to be quite harder than just carrying on the path that you're on. So as I say, Treat Williams plays this central character, and for the most part I think he's really good. I think he handles this very well. I think he does an excellent job of showing us a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders and nowhere to turn, no one to trust. His family turns against him, his cops, his partners turn against him, a lot of the criminals that he was kind of alongside with, who you help me, I'll help you, that are turning against him. He's got nowhere to turn, and it's hard to watch. And I think, like I say, Treat Williams does a very good job of getting under the skin of this guy. I will say, however, that there are a few times during this that you get the sense that at some point in his life somebody told Treat Williams to either go big or go home. And he really took that to heart, because there are just a few moments where a little bit more subtlety may have been the better way to go. I just think, like, you know, when you look at someone like a young Pacino, what he would have done, like what he did in Godfather, you know, you think of that scene where just before he shoots those two mobsters, and you see everything going on in his eyes, and it's so subtle, it's so, like, everything is done in just the smallest of mannerisms, and I feel like that kind of performance would have greatly lifted what Williams does here. Like I say, it's not a major criticism on him. I think clearly he's not in the league of someone like Pacino, but I think he does an excellent job. I think, yeah, you know, he presents this character very well, and I wouldn't let my comments put you off seeing the movie. Like I say, that'd probably be my only criticism, really, because everything else, I think it's just beautifully handled. The attention to detail, you feel like, I mean, this is based on a novel. It's based on a book, and I don't know if the book was based on reality, on a true story or whatever, but it feels like it was. It feels like it should be. Because like I say, the attention to detail, the way it delves into all the different parts, the different departments of the police force, of government and whatnot, it just feels real. It feels too real, to be honest, to not be based on some kind of true story. There's a lot of great character actors in this too, people who you probably won't know the names of, so it's no use me kind of rattling the list of names off, but when you see their faces, you'll be like, I know him from somewhere, you know, I know that person from somewhere, and they really add a lot of weight to proceedings. And I like that, actually, that it isn't a cast of stars, you know, it doesn't become a star show. It feels like a very character-driven piece, and you believe in these characters more, I think, because they've casted those kind of actors. I did laugh out loud at one point, actually, due to the casting, just because if you're a fan of The New Adventures of Superman from the 90s, the one with Dean Cain, there's a moment in this film when the actor who played Perry White in that series kind of pops up, and I'm like, oh, there's Perry White. And then literally the next actor, the one who he's working with, because he plays this bodyguard, and the two of them play these bodyguards, and the other actor who plays the other bodyguard is Clark Kent's dad from that TV series. So it was just, all of a sudden, I was kind of taken out of proceedings, which isn't their fault, obviously. They can't preempt something they were going to do 20 years later, but yeah, it was quite amusing just seeing Perry White and Clark Kent's dad suddenly protecting this main character. Yeah, I don't know why that's so funny, but it took me out for a moment. I'll just finish by saying that one of the other things that I love about this film, which can be said of so many of Sidney Lumet's films, is he never goes easy on the moral positions. You know, he never takes an easy stance and comes down hard on one side and kind of neglects another. And that's never more evident than in some of the final scenes when we've got this whole legal team who are kind of prosecuting all these cases, and there's a decision that needs to be made with Cielo, Williams' character, where should he be prosecuted, you know, because all these crimes that he did while he was on the force have come to light. Should he be prosecuted for them, or should he be let off, given how much he's gone through and given how much he's been on this search for redemption, the fact that he knows he's done wrong and he's trying to do right. You know, he's been trying to do right ever since. And yeah, that does pose this moral question. And there are some people in that legal team who are like, look, the law is the law is the law. He broke it, he needs to go to jail. And then there are others who recognise actually the difficulty that this man has been in, and the fact that he does want to change his ways. And there's this debate that kind of takes place towards the end of the film between all these men. I won't let you know what the outcome of that is, so I think you should watch the film and find out. But I love that discussion. I love that the film gets to grips with all those different sides of the argument and becomes this moral drama, becomes a commentary on, like I say, redemption and just the position that you kind of find yourself in when you're on that road to redemption, and the forces that will come against you as a result of it. So if you've ever seen 12 Angry Men and you really loved that film, I can honestly, I couldn't recommend this film highly enough. Thank you, Joseph, for recommending this, because this is the second time now. The last review I did for him, I ended up really enjoying as well. That was Don't Look Now. And I like this film a lot more. This is definitely right up my street, it must be said. It's a long film, must be said as well. It's like 2 hours 40 minutes, so you're in for the long haul if you're going to watch it, but it's so worth it. So worth it. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Couldn't recommend it highly enough. So if you have seen this film, I would like to know what you think about it. I'm sure Joseph would too. So please do leave your comments down below, and until next time, cracking.